How many times has this happened to you? The deer's coming in, you're very excited, you think it's go time, you come to full draw and you're like, dang it, that was way too soon. And invariably what happens is we either don't get the shot because we have to let down and the deer spooks, or we make a bad shot. That happens because we're not prepared and we haven't taken all the considerations into factor leading up to that hunt. When you're bow hunting from the ground or from a tree stand, there's certain things that you need to do before the deer gets within bow range that's really going to help make or break your hunt on the success level. What I'm talking about is when you're hunting from a ground blind or a tree stand, getting yourself in position, you're the predator, getting yourself ready to make that shot is the most important thing that's going to happen next to actually taking the shot and making the shot. So the first thing you have to do is read the deer's behavior. Number one, is it alert? How is it coming in? Which way is it positioned? All these things got to be coming into your head and formulating your next move. Your next move is got to be automatic. In a ground blind, there's certain things I have to do. If I have to swivel my body to make sure I can get the shot, make sure I have clearance on that window, make sure that my arrow is going to have clearance on that window, and that I can keep it at full draw for a certain amount of time if the deer happens to move or does something in that time for me to get ready. On a tree stand situation, same thing. Now when that deer's coming straight at you like in this situation, that's difficult because you have to not only keep your eye on the deer, read its behavior, you got to start pivoting yourself to get ready to make that shot. It's got to be automatic. And when you, especially when you watch pro sports, when they fail making those free throws, when they fail kicking that field goal, it's normally something gets messed up in their process. And that's what you have to keep in mind. What is your process? Well, if you come to full draw too quickly and that deer's not in range, that's going to mess you up. You're going to probably move your anchor point. You might not be bending at the hip if you're in a tree stand. That's going to mess up how you take the shot and how you make the shot. What are the things that you need to do to get into a comfortable shooting position? Like I said, whether you're on the ground or you're in a tree stand. And next, making sure the deer's in range, making sure the deer's standing at the right angle so that it doesn't duck the arrow when you take the shot if it's 30 or 40 yards out there, or if it takes that extra step and you're already at full draw and you're not ready for it. You might adjust that anchor point and you might miss the shot. Get a pre-game ritual, practice it, and you're going to be well prepared the next time you have a deer in front of you.
There are very few whitetail hunts that I go on where I don't use scents. They're so beneficial. This is the buckfire raging estrus from Wildlife Research Center. Now, companies like Wildlife Research Center, they sell their scents as an attractant. And they work like that. They attract deer in. But I also think of them as a distractant. And you probably heard me say that before, but they'll distract the deer once they're attracted. But you got to be thinking ahead in this strategy. You can't just hang a scent up there and hope that the deer's going to come downwind. You've got to think ahead to where you're going to be. And you're going to be at an angle on either side of that downwind alley. Because if you're just right up there, of course, the deer's going to smell you. And the other thing you've got to be very, very especially alert at is to make sure you have a shooting lane. Because that deer, he may come right up to this wick and sniff it right in his face, but odds are he's going to pause 10, 20 yards out. So if you're off to either side and the wick's here, make sure you've got shooting opportunities downwind for at least 20 yards. Because when he stops to assess what that smell is, hey, that's when you get your shooting opportunity. And when you're shopping for scents, make sure that they're DPP approved or checked off. That means that they've been CWD cleared, and that's good for all of us in the whitetail community.